Welcome everyone. Unit 4 Global Business Edexcel International Advanced Level. Hi, this is my third session of the covering this the revision program. Third and final session, the global marketing and global industries. So today in this session, we're going to discuss about this 6 chapters from chapter 32 to chapter 37, which is global marketing chapters, marketing, niche markets, cultural and social factors, and also global industries and companies, especially multinational chapters, the impact of MNCs, international business ethics, and controlling MNCs. These are our main scope of this lesson, right? So, and also along with these chapters, I'm going to discuss about the past papers, also relevant past papers, which is tested from these chapters. And the global marketing, here you have to mainly understand the different marketing approaches that international businesses actually following. Like global marketing strategy, you should know the concept of the globalization, right? And different marketing approaches like domestic, ethnocentric, geocentric, and polycentric, the meaning of these things, right? Domestic means like you're selling the original product without any change, we call ethnocentric product. Geocentric means like a hybrid method. You are producing the local product as well as the international product, both are giving that geocentric. A lot of business organization doing geocentric, giving local and international both. And other one is international strategy, which is polycentric. And we are going to understand how Porter's 5 forces, Porter's metrics, ends of metrics, an application of the marketing mix, product, price, place, promotion, really important for global markets, and also application of the ends of metrics is affecting, and also application of the Porter's strategic metrics, how is affected the global market conditions. These things we are going to discuss, right? So in this lesson, the global marketing strategy, we can see it is something they are planning outside the home country, outside the origin, right? They sell them their product beyond their national borders. We call global marketing strategy. That involves planning, producing, placing, and promotion for all 4 pieces of business products in a worldwide market. Right? So this process can involve business having offices in different countries with facilitated process with the growth of internet, right? So we're going to talk about the localization concept, global localization. You can see some business sometimes the phrase is they are think global, act local, right? World's local bank, like HSBC. Like that, there are different phrases are there. So localization approach different from a commerce strategy, which involves adapting the local expectation in order for a country to succeed in international market. So think global, act local. It's a good summary, right? And also different marketing approach, as I told you, there are different marketing strategies are there: ethnocentric, geocentric, and polycentric. Ethnocentrism means like domestic culture, domestic marketing approach. Whether you're selling the product without any change, we call domestic approach ethnocentrism. Right, the overseas markets are seen in identical or similar to domestic markets. Okay, so domestic market, example, if you sell the product without any change, like Pizza Express, and they expand to Canada, Apple, it's a good product, right? You can see iPhone, iPad, MacBook, there's without any change. The original version they are selling to other countries. Swatch, Rolls-Royce is a good examples. And there's a very good case studies there regarding this ethnocentric approach. It's a Red Bull case study. You can see this Red Bull, the color, the can, they never change. They never introduce the Red Bull with a glass bottle or plastic bottle. It always comes with the aluminum can with the red, this color, blue and ash color. So that's kind of a important case study. Next one is the polycentric international approach. On the international approach, you're going to mainly follow only you're adapting your business organization to the international culture, right? International culture or Western culture, it can be Asian culture. So you change your total product which is suitable for the local market. Polycentric approach also important one. You can see third one is important. I mean, a lot of business organizations follow this method, multinational company, which is mixed approach called geocentric. Like McDonald's, right? They make Big Mac burgers for everywhere. However, the chain sometimes, when it comes to Sri Lanka, they call it Big Mac, but when it go to India, call it Maharaja's burger, right? Like that. So because India there are so many Maharajas, like that. With the local taste, they try to make some different, geocentric. They are selling the original product and the local taste sauce. They're giving some examples from here from Egypt, Japan, Greece, India. So this is very important. In Sri Lanka also they have we are rice eating countries. Mac rice is there, right? KFC biryani, savans these are there. So like that, the original taste, the chicken, right? Everything, chicken buckets and everything, but always they're giving some kind of a rice menu, which is very special for that particular country. Right. The McDonald's they're giving sometimes a green tea in Japan, a milkshake in other country, normal fizzy drinks in some countries like that. They're changing. Basically, this table is really important, guys. Ethnocentric advantages, low cost, development of product, economies of scale is there. You just continue the same thing. However, disadvantaged product may not be sell well and does not take into account the national cultural differences. So on the other hand, polycentric approach, which is international approach, target the product for the different markets, higher sales, however, higher cost of development and difficult to compete with established brand is there because when you change your product into international standards, sometimes it's a high cost of product development coming and then difficult to compete with established already brand. Geocentrism or the mixed approach main advantages is tailoring product to local tastes, needs higher sales, and also disadvantage will be higher cost of product development. We're going to application adaptation of the marketing mix, 4P's the marketing, product, price, place, promotion. So you can see the polycentric, geocentric, ethnocentric. We're going to approach into the product, price, place, promotion. Right. So you can see summary of the table is important. Product should be the product be adapted to different markets. Or can it say it is adapt? Price also should be charged by local competitors, like they're concerned about the competitor pricing in the local market, right? You can't charge international price everywhere. So always you have to think about the competition in the local market. Promotion techniques, you have to find out the most effective technique is above the line promotion or below the line promotion in different countries. Place, how consumers are reaching the local market. The convenient method, is that through the direct method, set for wholesalers to retailers, agents like that, you have to find out. In application and in ends of metrics in the global market condition, you can see ends of metrics summary again. The corporate theory source in unit 3 we learn. Here you have to apply the central metrics into global market. And that we talk about it both new market and product, both new. We call it product the diversification, new quadrant, right? Top right quadrant. In both old existing market, we call it market penetration. Market penetration, right? And if the product is new, we call product development. Whereas on the market is new, we call market development. So this thing must be able to apply in the new different situation, product development, market development, diversification, everything. And we are going to apply the Porter's strategic metrics to global market in decisions. Porter's metrics coming. Remember the Porter's diamond, cost leadership, differentiation, and the focus strategies, which involves the business targeting narrow range of customers in one ways. Like these things must be able to focus some strategies. When you go into the mass market, like if you're selling Coca-Cola or something, you can actually focus on the cost leadership strategy and differentiation strategy. There's mass market techniques. And when you're going to the niche market, globally, global niche market is our next lesson. I talk about the focus strategies, fine. Focus also you can be the cost focus or differentiated focus, right? So you have to adapt your market strategy accordingly. Right, so that's the end of the first lesson out of 6. You can see marketing strategies questions are there today. I'm not going to discuss the case studies, right? Next topic is chapter 33, the niche market. This lesson also you're going to find out if the niche market is a small segment of the market which is untouched by the large businesses, but here global niche market means something a big amount. Let's say every country, imagine there are vegan people, But if you take the worldwide vegan community, it's lot, right? So we are going to understand especially cultural diversity, especially recognition of the groups of people across the globe have different interests and values. And we are going to find out what are the cultural diversity things and features of the global niche market we are going to learn, and also application and adaptation of the marketing mix OPs to suits global niche market we are going to learn. So global niche market we can define is something like a small market in the large arena, right? You can see it's a small market which is untouched by the large businesses. So global niche market similar to other niche markets covered by student group one, but because of the target is very specific range of people, often referred to as a subculture. There are subcultures, cultural diversities there, right? So this one you can see that there are certain techniques to identify this thing, cultural diversity. Ralch, Selch. So that's how I memorize Ralch, Selch, right? Language, right? It stands for hobbies and interests. You understand? Some countries language is different. Some countries hobbies and interests are different, right? Some countries the economic development is different, right? Religious norms are different. Social norms are different. For example, some countries like living together is a social norm, it's a normal thing. But some countries it is not a normal thing. It is something different, right? So like that, legal systems is a very different from country to country. Some countries, corruption is a norm. Some countries is a huge crime, like that. Is given here. Paying bribe to official for planning permission. It's a common practice in some countries. Weather and climate. Weather and climate also is another important factor to understand the cultural differences, because some countries are hot, some countries are cold. So according to them, their habits, their climatical thing and everything, their hobbies, their clothing, everything will be changed. History and traditions. That's also important part. History and tradition of the country must be understood before you go to the niche market. Search. Another one is the features of the global niche market. Features of global niche market. Mainly, there is economies of scale. Sometimes you can see how niche market has economies of scale. Now here, global niche market has economies of scale, because there is a portion to scale that, because targeting a global niche market, content that need to be produced is rise quite significant. As a result, they can have the economies of scale. And global niche market, another advantage or benefit is very good feature is the limited competition, right? So therefore, levels of competition is niche market often lower, not like mass market. Niche market competition is very low. Premium pricing, they charge higher prices their products. That's another feature of a global niche market. Always niche market is a small market segment, therefore their prices are very expensive. And they emphasize on quality. They focus on profit, right? And then they have brand loyalty, right? These 6 factors we normally identify Bell PFQ, right? So it's normally the mnemonic code starting with the B for brand loyalty, E for economies of scale, L for limited competition, PFQ stand for, right, premium pricing, focus on quality, right? Q stand for emphasize on quality, LPFQ, right? Easily memorize this function. And we're going to again, we're going to apply 4 Ps to global niche market. Like previous one also we talk about the 4 Ps. Here also we're talking about the 4 Ps, product, price, place, promotion, suitable for the global niche market. You can see here the summary. Advantage of global niche market. Prices are higher, right? More demand, because demand is more price inelastic, not responsive to price. Product is distributed through the specialist retailers or directed to the consumer. That's another advantage. Direct to consumer, just firms of image of the company is good, right? And you can see Billabong is a surfer image might be compromised if sold widely in supermarket. Therefore, they're not selling in supermarkets, they're only directly selling. However, disadvantage you can see by focusing on niche market, products sell in low volume compared with mass market. That is true. And niche market must be large enough to support the business and specialist distribution. The small size may prevent the economies of scale and allow it to compete with the larger competitors. So that will be happening. Right. So moreover, so that's the end of the second lesson out of 6 today. So the third lesson would be cultural and social factors. Under this lesson, the most important thing is to understand the cultural differences, again the search coming, and the different tastes and preferences we are going to identify. Language and unintended meanings, example we are going to teach you a little bit. Inappropriate branding and promotion, also we are going to touch here. Some commercials are there, they're banned in their local country. Right, so cultural social differences, mainly cultural and social factors affecting global marketing is again the search, right? So language, hobby, religion, legal system, weather, right? That factors, and also the history and traditions of the countries. And think about these patterns. Search, if you talk about the previous chapters, we have the same thing. And different tastes and preferences, the people in the different countries have different tastes. We normally call different people different tastes. Like that. So cultural and social differences are really important. Between cultural difference between Australia and New Zealand really relatively small. But we talk about the culture of the Australia and culture of the South Africa or culture of the India is totally different, right? Give you some examples here, right? Like Cadbury chocolate in USA, their taste mark is different from other Australian and UK chocolates. This is due to different fat and chocolate content using the other to meet the different FDA, Food and Drug Administration standards. Even McDonald's also like that. McDonald's all different parts of the world is often doing due to religious beliefs, but some are based on the taste of different countries as well. Like Japanese branch is often called chicken katsu burger. In Finland, they have burger served with the rye bun. France with the donut. In Hong Kong with the pasta soup. That are different, like they are having some kind of a ethnocentric or geocentric approaches. Okay, Samsung also like that. This example just go through, right? Because you don't have to memorize everything, but writing answers like 20 marker, 12 marker, you can write beyond the case study. That's why these are giving. Right? Samsung created a product to meet a specific demand, but normally the China number 8 and color red is very important, very lucky. And also like that different thing. Red covers a TV stand. Because in China, that's why red is very lucky for them. And they're giving examples. Just go through this back. Another one, the language and unintended meanings. This also must be understand. There are the thing called high context culture and low context culture when you're communicating, right? The US, Europe, and the other countries, normally you can say there are firms that usually take in face-to-face discussions, which appears to be. Firms listen and then leave socializing until after deal is done. So normally that's how US, Europe, and everything, they are very straightforward. They usually taken the face value, and firms do business and then leave in the socializing until they have deal is done. But when in other countries, like especially Middle East countries, it is not like that. Before they go to the business meeting, they have some socializing thing, like they're having some coffee or some tea or something, and they're talking with their just outside the business, and sometimes they are about their life, and then all they're going to business meeting. So that's different two approaches. And also they're taken into the agenda, letters, contracts are formal documentation in some parts, but usually in high context culture, right? Sometimes low context culture is forms, contracts, negotiation letters, everything, documentation doing after the deal. High context culture, yes is often does not mean yes. They say, so I agree with this, right? And they say, I hear you, rather than I agree with you, like that. The communication in Asian countries, for example, tend to be the high context and they have impact on the business. For example, making a pitch for a business in Japan. Japanese negotiator might close the long meeting saying, "We are going to study your proposal and get back to you," without saying no. Because in Japanese, people say no is not their culture. They say, "We'll go thoroughly, we'll pitch for a business plan, we negotiate," and they never say no without saying, "We give you some time, we'll go through our proposal again and get back to you." That's how they say. That's you have to understand these things. The language is really important. Without saying no, you get a way of saying something. It's like a little bit low tone, right? However, in Japan, they never use the word no in their negotiations. The socializing used to create a relationship for the next stage of negotiation, right? For example, Swedish firm negotiating with the Danish one. Verbal communication has many pitfalls, but does physical communication. Gestures that are common in one region may have different meanings in other regions and cultures. So look at this gestures part. That's also important part. Like thumbs up gesture in most of the countries, like well done. We are saying US, Canada, and Russia. Is kind of offensive in these countries, especially Australia, Greece, and Middle East. Thumbs up finger is not a good gesture. Understand? Okay, some people make it forefinger and thumbs. People okay sign, but Brazil, Uruguay, Germany, Russia is not a good sign. Pointing with the index finger is offensive in China, Japan, Indonesia, Latin America, Africa, and parts of Europe. They treated this like a calling animal, like that. This is thing. Curling the index finger with the palm facing up, come here indication. So calling something. It's offensive in Greece, Pakistan, and Africa and US here. Use the left hand to give something or receive something. Is to eat or something. This is offensive in India, Nepal, and Middle East countries. Although it is right hand. Right? Clicking fingers, moving a thumb and forefinger, we are doing like this. This is offensive in Latin America. Right? See here, no? You can see you have to understand these gestures even not on language. There might be barriers of communication. This has to avoid using unclear communication. Ensure that technological communication methods such as websites are working properly. Provide adequate communication training to staff. Avoid the use of jargon. Use the most appropriate medium when communicating. Eliminate source of distraction such as background noise. Ensure that the chain of command is not too long. Right, you have to understand that. There are inappropriate brand and promotions in the world. If you YouTube, you can find so many things, right? So this is given some couple of examples about the inappropriate branding. Like there was a brand called P Cola, soft drink. It's a it's a popular soft drink in Ghana, and this product could not suitable for the sale in the USA. Right? You know what? You know what's the reason? Bath is a detergent powder, but thing is the real meaning of bath is no. So it was an Iranian product, but however, name is no. Bath. It means something far less suitable for English-speaking countries. Like that, you have to understand some common language for names and everything is not suitable. Okay, that's the end of the global marketing part. Right? I hope you understand the global marketing section. So now we are going to discuss about the next theme, global industries and companies. Before go to global industry company, let's look at the unit 4 exam grid. What are the global marketing questions checked so far from those 3 lessons? Right. You can see the global marketing section so far. They talk about the couple of questions are there. You can see especially 20 mark questions are there. You can see first 20 mark in the first year. You can see this one. So I'll make it like a say blue color. Evaluate the usefulness of the ANSOF metrics. Harley-Davidson when developing a global marketing strategy. So you can see what is the strategy for Harley-Davidson. Is that ethnocentric, polycentric, or geocentric? I feel Harley-Davidson go with the ethnocentric approach, which is being local because people want to buy the original Harley-Davidson and not the local one. not the hybrid one. They always want original taste. And there's another 20 marker came from these 3 chapters, the niche marketing. Evaluate whether or not a business will benefit from operating in the global niche market. We talk about global niche market advantages, disadvantages. Their economies of scale, right? They can take the benefits of economics of the expansion. They can charge a premium pricing, high customer loyalty. However, the disadvantages we talk about. Just go through that chapter, the revision. Just now we talk about. So, writing a 20 marker. So some students actually ask me, so what is the structure for a 20 marker? Right? You should know. You have to start with the definition, and then at least I'm recommending to write 4 advantages and 4 disadvantages and the conclusion. You can write like that: positive point, however point, positive point, however point, positive point, however point, positive, like that. 4 positives and 4 however points with the conclusion. So that is important. I think the analyze questions, evaluate question, you have to have the all assessment objective of the knowledge, application, analysis, and evaluation. The mainly application should be there throughout the answer with the context. And look at another one, another 20 marker. Always question number 2, there's a high chance of coming these 20 markers from the marketing side, these 3 questions. Evaluate the promotion or product is the most important element in the marketing mix for global business. When you talk about the product, price, place, promotion, 4 P's of global marketing business, right? The first chapter in the marketing theory, talk about mainly which is more important or equally important. Product is important or promotion is important, which is the most important. In this case, we are talking about the product, define, talk about the features, positives and negatives, and promotion, define, talk about the 2 positives and 2 negatives of promotion, and you must write the conclusion, right? So this is the from 5 papers so far. The 20 markers are there from the global marketing concept. Not only that, there are some couple of questions. You can see, evaluate whether adapting to local preference is the best way to build a global brand. What is they asking? This is they're asking whether, right, polycentric is the best. Adapting the local preferences. That's called the being international. Adapting the local preference is the best way to build a global brand. So then it's a good question about the global marketing strategies: ethnocentric, geocentric, polycentric. Right? You have to talk about all these 3. They're asking the question, they're asking adapting to local preferences. Is clearly they say polycentric is the best. You have to define what is that, define global market strategy. Right? You have to talk about the features of all these 3. What is best if you go with the polycentric? What is the benefits and what are the drawbacks? And then you should know. That's why these chapters are really important, guys, right? And you can see, yeah, these are the main 4 questions so far came with the like other questions. You can see this skill shortages, competitiveness, that comes under multinational chapters, right? And here also another multinational controlling section. This question. So now normally you can see from the 20 markers, 4 20 markers are there so far from the past paper questions from the global market. Therefore, even this time also, I think you can see mainly focus on these things. Mainly there are no other, I mean like 4 markers or 8 markers or 12 markers based on this global marketing. So always the global marketing topics is always a 20 marker content, right? 20 mark content. You can see what are so far they asked 4 P's, global niche market, marketing mix for global business, and global marketing strategies, right? Whether which one is the best, local preference is the best way to build a global brand. These things are there. Okay, so go back to the lessons parts that are going to the last 3 chapters of this one, global industries and companies. Under global industries and company section, we are going to talk about 3 sections: the impact of MNC for the local economy and impact of MNC national economy. So impact of MNC local economy, you have to mainly summarize. You can create jobs, labor and local labor job creation, good for the workers, right? But what's the negative part? How they can be exploited, job opportunities coming, but however, they can be exploited. And wages and working conditions would be good, right? But however, this also can be badly affected. Sometimes they are paying low wages for some countries. And you can see other advantage of the impact on local economy. Local business will have opportunities, especially if you're providing the transport for the multinational company, if you're a supplier of raw materials, supply of the accommodation, food for the workers, then you can get the business. It's good for the local businesses, supporting businesses. However, you can say the infant business industries can be ruined because of the multinationals. Think about the both sides. Talk about the both sides. So normally, when you're writing, must have two sides. Must have a very good understanding about the positive and negative point of that. And mainly the local community and the environment. Local community and the environment. They have improvement of infrastructure. However, pollution also can become as a result. Improvement of the infrastructure like road system, like banking system, airports, everything will be big. Contribution to local government taxes. Government will get the tax income, but however point you can say, however they will use the tax can be evade. Sometimes you can see there can be some kind of a transfer pricing techniques might be adapted. Local government might get a tax, however, sometimes they might skip the tax. Help local communities. Yes, they are giving donations, participating in the local events, sponsoring events. It's good help for the local community. However, what happens? There may be cultural clashes. So always I talk about the positive point and the negative point of each side. The writing answer is very important. That's why I'm giving this. And second one topic is impact on the national economy or the local economy, national level. You can see countries' economic growth happen. The GDP will rise, right? GDP will rise, and FDI will flow for indirect investment. We talk. FDI is a very important topic. There are separate chapters we talk about on the FDIs. So here we're talking about the multinationals will promote the FDI. That is important. Like it's increase income, it's increase the tax revenue, increase the employment because of FDI. Right? Tax revenue, income, employment, reduce national debt because of the FDI. And it's good for another economical thing in national economy, balance of payment, good for the balance of payment. It's increase export, decrease imports. So it's important for the BOP, balance of payment. And technology and skill transfer. It's another concept. Technology and skill transfer. So there are horizontal transfer and vertical transfers are there. Technology and skill transfers. Horizontal transfers mean like your knowledge transfer to the same industry, say hotel to hotel, school to school, hospital to hospital, technology will transfer. So if a multinational company comes, a multinational hotel industry like Shangri-La, they transfer their hotel, the technology sometimes to other local companies also must be adapted. Vertical transfer, which means in the supply chain, sometimes you might be transfer technology to a supplier or sometimes for the distribution channel, forward vertical or backward vertical. The same thing. So multinational will be giving the technology and skills, different methods horizontally and vertically, right? And the other one, the topic is for the consumers. Consumers also for the multinationals in the country, more choice and prices can be go down, improve the quality, and there's a better living standard coming for the consumers. For the business culture, individuals may have saved some amount of money from employment. Workers may have developed skills that they think could be better. Multinationals may encourage workers to set up businesses and become up suppliers. This is the business culture will change. And also finally, tax revenue. Tax revenue coming to the economy, but however, the transfer pricing method also they can apply for the multinational. So you can see that's the end of the first lesson of the multinational chapters. The next part of the multinational, the fifth lesson out of that sixth lesson today is international business ethics. Yes, when you're doing multinational, there are ethics happening. You can see this photo also. It's kind of giving some gift or bribery something. It's a situation. We are going to analyze the ethical side of the MNCs, like stakeholder conflicts, environmental conflicts, and supply chain considerations, marketing considerations. So everything I'm going to discuss there. Business international ethics. Ethics means something, principles and acceptable norms that govern behavior, right? Principles and acceptable norms that govern the behavior we call ethics. So what is wrong, what is right? There are stakeholder conflicts coming, like between these, right? Stakeholders, anyone who have interest in the business, there can be some conflicts coming among the government and the shareholders, the community and shareholders, with the customers and shareholders, customers and managers, community and managers, government and managers, right? Government and the suppliers, community and the supplier, customer and the supplier. There are different methods. This grid goes like that. So consumer conflict, you can see there are three conflict, like conflict of interest, product safety, and misleading advertising. Consumer can sue the business because of this. Employees can sue the business conflicts when they come because of employee safety, not giving safe and hygienic environment. Employee redundancies can be happen. The company may need to reduce the staff numbers to regain profitably. And pay and conditions. Pay and conditions are important. Shareholders. There will be a conflict of interest between the management and the shareholder. Short-term versus long-term returns for shareholders. There can be conflict coming like that. Conflict between the interests between the management and shareholders. There are short-term and long-term vision of shareholders. Countries and communities. Sometimes safety. The people's well-being is compromised. Like sometimes pesticide, chemical usage, Union Carbide, Bhopal. Community affected, they died, a lot of people. 5,200 deaths. Right? Environmental concern, pollution is important, another conflict. Resource depletion is another conflict. You can see there will be a little like company extraction objectives, especially industries are there, especially Indonesia now, some things. We have a separate topic for environmental consideration, talk about the emissions of carbon dioxide because of the MNCs. You can see here, waste disposal methods, right? Normally, waste disposal must be managed properly, causing otherwise huge environmental concern, especially nuclear and the radioactive waste stages. Sustainability is another important thing. We should talk about the specific meaning of sustainable business. Mean the one that operate without negatively affecting the ability of future generation to meet their needs. Sustainable. So it's avoid the large quantities of non-renewable resources. Take more recycled materials, like using eliminate waste and pollution. Positive environment, like you can see, encourage people to cycling to work, right? These things are important. Sustainability. So that's about the environmental thing. Supply chain consideration. We talk about the pay and working conditions. Pay and working conditions. Supply chain matters. And another important factor which came once for 20 markers. Exploitation of labor, availability, the skill shortage, everything. Exploitation, do not do the examples that are good examples. Go through that. Child labor, use of child labor is illegal, right? So that's another conflict. I think ethics, you should follow business. Do not use child labor. Child labor means people under 18. If someone working under 18, right? So many businesses using child labor even up to this time. So it's a very good ethical point, focal point in order to fulfill. Other marketing consideration, misleading product labeling. Sometimes label is totally false label. Ingredients are wrong, expiry date is wrong, batch number is wrong, like that. And inappropriate marketing activities, which mean sometimes giving kind of a generous gifts. It's kind of a way of promotion. They are giving very good example. The GSK, GlaxoSmithKline, the British pharmaceutical firm, they're the one who manufactures this famous drug called Panadol. So it's involved illegal marketing activity in order to increase the drug sales, right? In 2013, Chinese government suggested this situation. So what happened? They're giving generous, entertainment for the doctors, for example, including all expenses, paid conference for doctors, giving free gifts, and the cash payment sometimes. So this thing, China, they call this the kind of a bribe, inappropriate marketing strategy, because the doctors then have kind of a bond they're relating. Okay, this company sponsor my conference, then I had to do some favor for this drugs company, like that. You can see it's operating in global environment with China and many other countries. So this is how the international business ethics are important for the countries. So we're going to last part of the unit 4, which is the controlling MNCs. Guys, there is a the last paper. There is a 20-mark question from controlling MNCs. Right. So if you are following right now, you can see controlling MNC chapter already. They have checked recently. You can see evaluate the extent to which the actions of the multinational corporations can be controlled. Right. So this section they have been asked so far. So I give this color as a purple color. Right. So controlling MNC they asked. Right. Potential stakeholder conflict. Talk about this under multinationals. In IKEA, commitment to environmental consideration. So stakeholder conflicts. IKEA versus environment. IKEA versus environmental consideration like that. So supply chain consideration. You can see another MNC question. Supply chain consideration. There are 12 markers, 20 markers are there for multinational companies as well, right? You can see when calculations are, you can see GDP growth, right? Construct demand supply diagram, calculate 1 BP the price elasticity of demand, construct demand supply diagram. This is the main calculation type of questions. For multinationals, they haven't asked any thing so far for the 4 markers and the 8 markers, right? But they have asked in 20 marker, 12 marker, 20 markers so far, right? So now we're going to talk about the factors again. What are the actions that MNC can be controlled? These are the main methods. The power of MNCs, the political influence is there we can put to control the MNCs, and then legal controls, consumer pressure, pressure groups, social media, and self-regulation. These are important. So you can see that especially the government, what the power of MNC. MNC has so much of power, technological power, financial superiority, technical superiority, the main advantages, power of MNC coming from these things. However, MNCs are often criticized because they are too powerful and they may exploit a range of stakeholders. They sometimes operate as a monopolist and exploit consumers by charging high prices. So this is the thing, power of MNCs. And there is a political change can be happen, political influence. Yes, we can use a political influence to regulate the MNC. Especially, we can have some, to sign some contracts with MNC not to do, and then fine because of the illegal activities, giving some licensing, right? Banking acts, telecommunication, transportation, agriculture. So many things are controlled by the government. So political influence is it's a tool that we can control the MNC power. However, there are setbacks, there are drawbacks are there, like normally in the political influences. I mean, there are corrupted politicians are there sometimes. This could be a problem in we cannot use the political regime in order to control the MNCs because of the corruption, right? Sometimes state-owned companies, state-owned operations may take place, especially China. China state companies are, most of the state companies of China are multinational companies. Sometimes this will be a problem. How can they control by themselves? Self-regulation is important. Sometimes shareholders and other investors may be reduced or ignored because they are not the beneficiaries of the companies. So that's another thing. Investment expenditure, especially research and development costs, may be ignored. These are the main things. However, privately owned business can be controlled using the number of political initiatives. For example, you can see tariff quota can be used to regulate the thing to supply, to reduce the supply. And also you can use many countries place a direct or indirect ownership restrictions to MNCs. Like countries also support domestic industries to subsidies or tax breaks, right? So there are many other forms of political influence. You can go like lobbying by politicians, like go and sign some petitions and sign some acts in the parliaments, lobbying. And politicians sometimes retiring, sometimes they will go to the board of directors of these multinational PLCs. That's another problem. Right. So mainly there are benefits and drawbacks of political influences. This table is important. Can create and manage and end the business. And sometimes political influence helps to elected officials to challenge the power of private businesses and address issues of concern. However, helps to facilitate corruption and can do add to inefficiencies such as the misallocation of capital and lack of research and development. Right. Moreover, there are legal control sections there. You can see one of the best ways of controlling large international business is legal control, legislation. You can see competition policy, tax policy, legislations, right? So many things are there to follow in MNC. The main benefits of having legislation is can be used to improve the competition in the domestic market, help to check the corporate power of a company, and also facilitate the consumer protection. However, there are drawbacks of using legislation to control multinationals. It is difficult to achieve consistent legal practice. It is easy for a big international firms to move to friendly environment and avoid treatment that they consider to be unfavorable. And sometimes even with the agreement of law, policies or standards are there. They are even often not actually being practiced. This is the main problem with the multinational companies, right? So enforce. It's not easy to enforce, right? So that's a legislation section. The third method that we can control multinational is by using our consumer pressure. Yeah, if consumer not purchase their product, MNCs has to listen to them. Consumer organization associations are there, right? Consumers are very powerful. Companies just only one, but consumers are many families. Pressure groups are being created. Especially, you should know the environmental concern pressure groups, economic concern special groups, the political power, like pressure groups can be created against the corrupted politicians. So it's important. Pressure groups can be there. World famous pressure groups. I can see the Red Cross organization and also the Greenpeace organization. These are the main thing. Like boycotting, you can boycott some meetings. You can media criticisms. I can see naming and shaming. Direct action you can get like sabotage and everything. Strike, protest, demonstration. These are the main direct actions that you can take. Lobbying is another thing. Main benefits of pressure grouping is you can encourage, enlist committed people to like volunteers for these movements, and particularly where the social media involved, you can incredibly quickly you can get engagement, and it increases the issues that may otherwise not become public knowledge. The awareness of the public is increased, and it all gives some alert for politicians and authorities on issues to concern the public. However, there are drawbacks such as campaigns will be ill-informed and misguided. Information going viral sometimes. Video links can be spread very fast. And sometimes message ultimately communicated is too impossible to influence the message that normally spread rapidly through population by people sharing it electronically with friends and colleagues. Direct action can lead to violence and miscarriage of justice sometimes. Yes, like people put some fire and everything. Sometimes politicians' houses might be burned. These things, and direct actions can be very disruptive, which may be counterproductive. Yes, very important topic. Social media. Yes, social media can be used to actually control MNCs. You can collect information and you can increase social awareness. You can ensure greater transparency, right? Bringing together people in order to create the kind of social authority. These things are there. Self-regulation. The last point is self-regulation. Like multinational company must be able to control themselves without any pressure. I mean, from the pressure group, social media, everything. No, they should have a self-regulation techniques. Like the advantage of self-regulation technique, can see government regulation might be avoided. Business stakeholders might be better served. The reputation and image of the business might be improved. It may be easier for business to encourage its employees to adopt the capital behavior and principles. And these things are important. Self-regulation can also benefit the taxpayer. The cost of setting up government agencies to make rules, monitor business activity, and enforce rules can be very expensive. So therefore, self-regulation is best. So that's all about the unit 4, right? So unit 4 is done. All the chapters are done, right? You can see the index and everything goes there. So mainly that's the end of the unit for discussions. If you go back to the grid here, you can see what are the main areas they're targeting, especially the main supply demand constructions, PED calculation sometimes. FDI question 3 times repeated, and you can see there is the 12 marker question every year repeating the chapter 29. You can see production location question is very famous. Different factors of production location, the selection will be depending on different factors. All they ask about the skill shortages thing, skill and availability of labor, government incentive, assess the importance of infrastructure, assess the importance of the ease of doing business, assess the importance of the local and economy, right? Other than that, there are some other four more factors are there. Just go through. So every year they're asking different question, and then you can see FDI 2 times they ask, and you can see blue color, light color. You can see these 20 markers are global marketing question. Just today we discussed this thing, and the purple color indicates there are 2 20 mark and 1 12 mark from controlling MNC section. Right. Protectionism also 2 times they ask you. Okay, so that's all about the discussion about the MNCs and my revision program, end of my revision program. So far in these 3 sessions, we talk about the this global business module under 4 themes. Globalization in my session 1, the 5 chapters covering. Global marketing and business expansion, these 5 chapters in the 2nd session covering. The 3rd session is covers the global marketing and global industries and companies. So I hope you actually get a good understanding and a thorough knowledge about the global business unit. So good luck for the people who are actually sitting for exams. And I hope I can do something in order to actually increase your grade. So thank you very much, and keep share this video, like my channel, subscribe my channel. Thank you very much for being with me. In future also, you can actually do. I'm continuing my service like this, so you can actually follow me and you can subscribe my channel. You can follow me on Instagram. Everything you can do. Thank you very much and good luck.